Hey guys, Useful Yields here. I just want to highlight two potential great buying opportunities, in my humble opinion. Now, first of all, let's start off with the boring stuff. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Just a young guy with passion for investing. Yeah, so let's get into it. So we got four funds here that all have one thing, but I'll get to that. So Nvidia, guys, everyone knows Nvidia's been crazy this year. Year to date, 116% increase. That's crazy. AMD, maybe not so much. They've had a few bad earnings reports, but they are getting into AMD or AI soon enough. More in the commercial space, and we all know that they're very good in the consumer space with their GPUs, their graphics cards, right? Any gamer knows that. TSMC, which basically gives the opportunity to a lot of these companies. They are the biggest semiconductor manufacturing company in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they're huge. And then lastly, we have let's do one more example. Broadcom, right? Broadcom year to date also 31%. I mean, this is incredible. All of these are higher than something like SPY, right? If we go here year to date, so year to date 12%. So all of these are a lot higher besides AMD. But the fund I'm trying to highlight today, there's two. One is more risky than the other, and I'll highlight that first. And then the other one is still incredible with its growth and potential growth, but just not as risky. But let's start with the risky one, USD. So last year, year to date, USD, which is ProShares, semiconductor ETF. It's a leverage ETF, but so be wary of that. And that's what I mean. Even more high risk. But if we go to year to date, guys, 88%. Just the last year in general, 113%. Now, those sound crazy, I know. But what's crazier is the last 5 years. Last 5 years is 725%. That's crazy, guys. Yeah. Now, there's another company that's similar to this, or there's another, EFT that's similar to this, which is Van Eyck Semiconductor ETF. Now, if we look at their year-to-date, 27%. So it's beating SPY. It's beating Broadcom, I think. If we look at their last year, 38%, and their last 5 years, 263%. Now, one thing I'd like to go into now a little bit, just note out, and go into a little bit later, is that there's a dip, right? The last, pretty much all of July has been very, very red, for the tech sector especially. So you've seen like Nvidia, this is July, they've kind of been on a downtrend. Just really any company. This is also July. AMD, so, and really also most indexes, the NASDAQ, the S&P, so yeah. But if we take a look at SMH more in depth a little bit, and this is probably going to be more interesting for most people, here's their holdings, right? So we have Nvidia, TSMC, Broadcom, AMD, SML, some other ones. We have like Intel, Micron, very big name semiconductor manufacturers. And something I'd like to note with future growth, yes, these are super insane recently, but future growth, there's a lot of companies based in the US that are trying to compete with TSMC, right? This guy. Namely Micron and Intel, right? These two companies are building insanely massive fabs. I know Micron has plans, I think, to finish there's two fabs that I know about. One in Boise, Idaho, and one in New York. And I know they're huge. The New York one especially. Probably the biggest one. I think they're planning to make that the biggest one in the US so far. So very big competition for TSMC, which is good for these two for growth. Especially for Intel. I mean, Intel has not had the best year, all things considered. But yeah. Now, one thing I'd also like to highlight about this SMH fund, this Van Eyck Semiconductor ETF, is if we take a look at the Morningstar page for it, it is a 5-star rated Morningstar fund. Guys, that is incredible. This is highly, highly, highly suggested fund. This is like a great rated fund. Now, if we look at USD, which is the other more risky one we looked at, you know, there's no stars here. But something I'd like to highlight between these two is the performance versus the index, right? See 71K with a growth of $10,000. Guys, 115K here. That's crazy. Now, what's even crazier is the more risky one, the leveraged one, USD. Almost 500K versus the 33K on that index. That's crazy. Literally insane. So I personally have chosen to invest in USD. On Robinhood, this is half of my investments. I also have some stuff in SoFi that I'm trying to transfer over, but you know, I have put 3 shares, I think, in USD, because guys, this is the dip. Buy the dip, right? We're always trying to buy the dip, trying to sell, buy low, sell high. You know the drill. Now, I would like to mention that, you know, here at Youthful Yields, we're not just focused on growth funds, right? Actually, the majority of my portfolio on my SoFi account, these are not growth funds, guys. These are kind of joked, you know, they're laughed at a lot for their so-called NAV erosion, right? A lot of these funds have decayed a lot, or that's what it appears. But what is important is they're not meant to be growth stocks. Now, Misty's an exception. This is literally green still through the entirety of this bloody month. But most of these, you're losing out on capital gains. That's okay. We trade capital gains for income right here. So I've only been in these funds for about a month, but I've gained about $45. I think that was an initial investment at the time, like $600 or something. I'm not quite sure. But what's more important, excuse me, is next month, which is you know, this next month in August, which realistically we're going to be getting quite a lot more. We have a lot more shares, a lot more total equity. So I'm expecting probably somewhere in the realm of, you know, 100. But yeah. So my future videos are probably going to be more focused on the dividend side of things, but I just really wanted to highlight, like I said, these two funds, these two ETFs that kind of can outshine a lot of this stuff. And maybe, you know, it's still tech heavy. You know, it's a semiconductor ETF after all, but that can kind of, you can use a lot of this growth, you know, sell out, use a lot of that growth, put that into something like yield max ETFs and convert that capital gain, those capital gains into growth, or sorry, income, monthly income, I should add. And that's something I'd like to go over, this tool that I've been working on a little bit later in another video. But yeah, like I have a few pages invested into kind of determining your potential monthly yields from these yield max ETFs, or really any ticker, but those especially. You know, I put a little bit of time into this, so let me know if you guys are interested in you know, learning more about this tool and if yeah, if you guys want to access it, I'll do my best to make it publicly available and free, guys, free. Okay, because I know a lot of these companies say they're free. Like, listen, I love Snowball Analytics. It's great. It's a very pretty site, but they lock a lot of stuff behind a paywall, which I do not like. Same goes for a lot of these dividend tracking companies. Track Your Dividends, Dividend Tracker, really any of those. I don't want people to have to pay for that. That's kind of the whole point of investing. Is, you know, you invest a little bit of money and you get money back. But with these, you don't get money back. You might get, you know, some good experience, but I can offer that with a tool. Granted, I get some people's feedback. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. But I'm going to stop the video here. Yeah, and let me know if you guys purchase some of these funds. Comment down below. But good luck to your investment journey, and I wish you a wealthy future.